I gotta turn it down because I don't want the copyright. What's happening, mediocre people of YouTube? This is a Carvin X100B. As you guys know, it's one of my favorite amps. This amp was on the bench before, and it was actually Brad, the guitarist, helped me out with some biasing issues. As you can see, we did add a bias pot a long time ago. At some point, we were not passing signal. And I mean not passing signal at all. And to the point where I thought maybe there was a problem with the output transformer. So I put it on the shelf for a while until I could get time to screw with it. And basically, you know, signal tracing starting at the beginning. If you've ever worked on or you own one of these amps, basically we had the preamp signal was not getting through to the phase inverter. I replaced Q11 and Q13, which are transistors in there, and they are from the preamp to the phase inverter to the power output tubes. And I replaced some op amps, and still I'm signal tracing and had nothing. I mean, no output. And it drove me mad for a little while. What I ended up doing, because I was, you know, you're signal tracing and you get to a point where you got no signal, and then you get in there and you think, okay, well, it's got to be this. So what ended up happening here is I basically recapped the entire preamp section of this. Now, as you can see, I put new coupling capacitors in here. This goes a while back. I did these coupling capacitors as well as the electrolytic capacitors. It got recapped and with some nice good F&T caps. This is the amp that I've had forever, and it was just a workhorse. So I recapped the entire preamp section. As you can see, those capacitors are green compared to the yellow capacitors that are original. And when that happened, boom, the next thing I know, we're passing signal. I actually blew a speaker. I've got a cheap crate speaker down there, and it blew it up. You know, it was probably like a 15-watt speaker or something. Threw a straight up 100-watt Carvin head into it and blew it. Didn't even realize I blew it either. It was interesting because you know, as we're going here, I've got it. I just want to cut the lights here just to check on the tubes because I have not biased this or anything like that. So I want to make sure we don't have any obvious red plating going on or anything like that, which it does not look like. So that's good. But I just wanted to check on that for a second. So I'm going to go ahead and now that I've recapped, I recapped the entire preamp section, everything, all the capacitors were recapped. I'm going to go ahead and recap everything. I'm just going to basically shotgun the whole thing. All these yellow capacitors here, these have a lot to do with the effects loop, which I don't use typically. And then there's a few up in here. This is the what do you want to call it? Not equalizer circuit, but it's the you know, the bass, middle, and treble circuit here. Might as well just go ahead and finish recapping it, and then I'll check the bias on it, and then she'll be back doing the whole workhorse thing. Here's the other thing: is like I'm thinking I might as well recap the EQ. You know, while I've got it out, I might as well go ahead and do it because otherwise I'm afraid it's going to be a problem down the road. I've got plenty of capacitors. Had at least one of these capacitors here go, which is not all that common. Those usually last quite a long time, but had one go and ended up recapping them all down here. So I'm glad to see this amp is back in business because she's been a workhorse and she's been with me a long time, and I'm glad I don't have a blown out foot transformer or anything like that. So anyway, that's my video for today. Just kind of had to do a video here. I got a lot of shit going on in my life right now, so just trying to break up the monotony of all that. But for any of you guys who have a Carvin X100B and you're not passing signal, it could possibly be what went on with me, which was I recapped the entire preamp section, and it just I had signal going all the way up until we got to the phase inverter, and then we had no signal. So it was in between there. If you look at the schematic for a Carvin X100B, you'll kind of understand why I went ahead and worked my way back. And this entire section here, where you see these green capacitors, that's the preamp section, and I went ahead and just recapped the entire thing. I also replaced some of the op amps, which I don't know if I'll go back to. I think I'll check them out and then maybe put the old ones back in and do a comparison. I definitely don't want this amp to change tone. I really dig all these amps are the Carvin X100B series. They're great. There's a 6L6 series, which is this. This is the one I like, is a 6L6 series. The other ones have EL34s. They are also fantastic. They've come out with a couple of different versions. Of course, Carvin's out of business and no longer anymore, but they did come out with a couple of versions, and I've heard them, and they're all just great. If you are looking for a clean channel, crystal clear, clean, this is your amp, okay? But it also drives. I've made statements before where I've told people that I would pit this against any Marshall JCM 800 out there, as far as playing that kind of music and drive. You know, you want that good distortion and all that. Absolutely, these amps are great, and you can still pick them up for a relatively good price. They're going up just like everything else, but they're not in the $3,000 range where, you know, some of these amplifiers are just, I mean, people are getting crazy with this stuff. I mean, it's almost unbelievable. It's great, I mean, but it's really getting stupid price-wise. You know, you used to be able to go out and buy a Marshall JCM 800 100-watt head. You just be able to go get those used for $800 all day long. And I've got one of them still. But I'm not going to sell. Oh, I don't have it down here. That's that Bugera head, which I got a year ago or so. I got a hell of a deal on it. That's a great head. I don't know whether it's going to be reliable. I guess it remains to be seen. But that's a great sounding head. Again, it's not... this is, you know, straight up... You know, if you like the straight up Marshall Plexi stuff, oh man, this does it. It does every bit of it and more. And it's 150 watts. It's a hell of a head. Straight up 100-watt head, you know. I mean, I know they say it's 150, but 100-watt head is a 100-watt head. So anyway, that's what I'm doing, trying to break up some of the monotony in my life. And I'm happy to get signal going through here again. And I'm going to finish up. But like I said, while I've got it open, I might as well just go ahead and replace all these capacitors. Not that many left. It's going to suck getting up in here in these areas, but should be able to get it. The only ones I'm concerned about are the ones back in here. It's going to be a little bit tough to get at, and I definitely don't want to pull that board again. If I pull any board, it'll be this equalizer board, and to recap it. And I don't know if I've ever pulled this EQ board, but I don't know. You know how it is. It's all a pain in the ass, but yeah, this amp's been with me for forever, man, and I'm just glad to have it working again. All right, you guys, I'll see you again, this life or the next.